Alcoholics Anonymous has a staggering 95% failure rate, yet millions of people flock to the meetings and cling to the philosophy as if it's the only way to quit drinking. Imagine if an accountant proposed a tax strategy for you, and he said it would have between 5 and 7% success rate, requiring daily meetings, self-deprivating labels, and a belief that you're too weak and feeble to do it yourself. Would you blindly follow this accountant and his tax strategy? I know I wouldn't. A 95% failure rate? Of course not. Yet this is exactly what AA is doing. It's asking its members to sacrifice their time, their self-worth, their dedication in exchange for a 5 to 7% success rate. While AA has been successful in helping millions and millions of people quitting alcohol, which I applaud, it's also failed the other 95%, which is millions and millions and millions more. And that's what warrants a closer look at why AA is failing people. And I want to shed light on this so that you can actually understand why it's not been successful and so how you can apply that into your own quit drinking journey. First point is all about the powerlessness that AA encourages. AA is all about surrendering to a higher power and emphasizing that you have no power over alcohol. You are powerless to the substance. And this whole philosophy undermines complete personal agency. You're not in control. You do not have a say. And I will never encourage people to believe that a substance, alcohol, has control over you. Someone or something can only ever have control over me if I give it my control. And I'm never going to give somebody else control over me. Like, that seems so bizarre that this is a substance. Yeah, it's addictive, but it is just a liquid. A liquid does not have control over me. And because it doesn't have control over me, I can go to barbecues, to weddings, to different parties and be in the same situation with alcohol. And I'm not scared over it. It has no power. It doesn't limit me in any way. And I can easily say no to alcohol very calmly and confidently and without any drama in my life. And so when you look at it like this, it's a very empowering decision to say that alcohol does not control me. Alcohol has no control over me. I'm the one in control. I'm not giving my control over to somebody else. It's such a victim mentality, that of AA, that alcohol is in control. I can't go to that place. I can't be near it. I can't hold a beer without losing control and going crazy. This is not right. Well, for me, I want to take the most empowering stance that there is. And in that sense, I am never going to admit that I'm powerless over alcohol. And for me, it's all about embracing self-mastery over these substances, over these vices, and over the bad habits that I've had in the past. It's as simple as that. Second up is the frigging tokens that you get at AA. I think for every month, 6 months, 12 months, you get a little token, a coin to celebrate that. And while counting the days can initially be helpful for people when they're starting their alcohol-free journey, I always recommend for the first 21 days. But after that, if you're counting the days, there's this fixation of day 52, day 229. There's this fixation on the struggling mindset that this is going to be a struggle for the rest of your life, and you have to count the days. And you don't. Quitting alcohol is such a liberating choice and decision, and it gives you so much freedom. And it certainly doesn't have to be a lifelong battle. The language of recovery, addiction, alcoholic sobriety, I hate it. That language is so horrible, negative, and it feels wrong. I'm not an alcoholic. I never was, I never will be. But now I just choose to be alcohol free. I'm not in recovery. I'm just living a lifestyle that really suits me and I love it. There's no struggle in my life when it comes to alcohol. And so when you see that quitting alcohol is not a punishment because you don't have control over this substance, rather it's a liberating lifestyle, and it should be celebrated and not seen as the struggle bus. And the date when you started the alcohol-free journey is so irrelevant. So people ask me how long I've been alcohol-free, over 9 years. Do I know the date? Not at all. I know it's between September and December because it was at a certain event, a certain activity, but I don't have that date. And think about vegetarians or vegans. They never talk about oh, I'm on day 129 vegetarian. No, it's just a lifestyle choice that they've chosen because it's most in alignment with their values and their goals for their life. And so they're just vegetarian. And I think it should be completely the same when it's alcohol free. If it's a lifestyle, it's a lifestyle. You don't need to be counting the days. The focus for me is exactly what I do today. And because if I decide to drink today, it doesn't matter that I've been alcohol free for 9 years. It matters what I do today and the choice I make today. So That's another thing that I don't agree with AA, like having that badge of honor, like 10 years, 6 months. Like, no, it's just a freeing lifestyle and it should be seen like that. Third up is how I hate that AA it trades one dependency on alcohol for another. Think about it. At the beginning, when they have the meetings, you have your sponsor. Amazing. I love the idea of having meetings and you have a connection with somebody who can guide you on the process, right? Don't think they need to be every day. This is another thing that sometimes when people quit drinking, it becomes a hobby for them. It consumes so much of their life, which I just hate. It shouldn't be that time consuming. Maybe initially for the first 3 months when you're starting the new habit, you're changing. But after that, you should be able to fly the nest and not become dependent on your sponsor and not become dependent on going to those meetings. So you're trading that one habit of drinking alcohol for the new habit of going to a meeting every day, of speaking to your sponsor every day. There's a real dependency there. And that's probably why 95% of people in AA aren't successful, because you have to keep going to the meetings to be successful. You have to keep having the meetings with your sponsor to be successful. There's no focus on the long term, on sustainable behavior change. And this is all it is. Quite simply, it's very, very simple. It's just a behavior change from drinking every day on a Friday when you get home from work, when you're in stressful situations, when you feel like shit. All of this it's just a habit. So it's just changing those habits. I would suggest that maybe 90% of alcohol drinkers are not alcohol dependent. They're socially dependent and they're emotionally dependent on alcohol. Right? And that's what you need. You need a program that covers the 3 different detoxes, the physical detox, the social detox, the emotional detox, so that you can really liberate yourself from this habit that you have. And it's as simple as that. Fourth up, and this might surprise you as much as me, did you know that the program of AA was written in the 1930s? It's almost 100 years old. All of the fields of psychology, behavior science, neuroscience, they have developed so much in the last 100 years, and they're all involved in the process of quitting drinking. If you've got a program, why wouldn't you update it as times change, as new scientific evidence comes out, new theories, new everything comes out? Why isn't it being updated as they go along? And if you're anything like me, you probably don't take advice that was written over 100 years ago, which just has no standing and foundation nowadays. It's just so antiquated. And the 5th reason why I hate AA so much is, just like many other quit drinking programs, they see alcohol as the core problem which needs to be solved. And it's simply not true. Now, the reality is alcohol consumption is often the solution to a much deeper underlying issue. For me, for example, when I was drinking, I used to drink because low self-esteem. I used to drink because I didn't feel confident in certain situations. I used to drink because I didn't feel as if I fit in the different scenarios. So alcohol was solving those issues for me. So if the quit drinking program doesn't look at those root causes as to why you were drinking in the first place, it's only going to be a very short-term solution. You're not going to be able to sustain it in the long term, because the discomfort and the pain of the social anxiety that I had, of the feeling of not fitting in, which I had, the feeling of not feeling confident in certain situations, will drive you to drink again, because you haven't solved the initial problems which alcohol was solving. So any sustainable quit drinking program will look at the underlying reasons as to why you're drinking, and AA simply does not do this. So there you have it. AA is simply not one solution that fits everyone. It's rooted in the antiquated philosophies, and it just hasn't updated itself with modern science. One of the main reasons why people find quitting drinking so difficult is they don't have the right program in place. They don't have the right systems in place. And with programs like AA of over 100 years old, of course people are going to fail, and of course only 5% of people are going to be successful in the long term. So there you have it. If you're serious about quitting drinking, know that AA is not the way forward. And if you've been trying to quit drinking for a long time and you're just unsuccessful and you can't get it to sustain past 2 or 3 weeks, just remember Albert Einstein's quote. He says the definition of crazy is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're serious about quitting drinking, I do work with people one-on-one, and we look at the 3 different stages of quitting drinking: the physical detox, the social detox, and the emotional detox. By addressing those 3 really does lead to success. We have a 93% success rate in the program. So if you're serious, check out the resources below, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. And if you're not quite ready to work one-on-one with me, have a look at all of my channel. We've got lots of videos there and the how-tos, a very practical how to quit. And there you'll find everything that you need. Okay, until next video, take care of yourself.